English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Bonjour à tous ceux qui nous écoutent Radio Grand Lac 92.1 FM. Bienvenue à l'émission Your English Weekly, animée par moi-même, Sinead, professeur d'anglais. L'objectif de cette émission, c'est stimuler la langue anglaise et l'expression anglaise. Chaque semaine, vous découvrez soit un article, une histoire ou un élève de Your English Workshop. Cette émission aujourd'hui est sponsorisée par Your English Workshop, qui est un centre de formation pour l'apprentissage d'anglais. Je profite de ce moment pour parler de notre stage d'avril, du le 11 au 14 avril avec nos partenaires La Voile. Restez à l'écoute dans les 15 prochaines minutes pour notre expression de la semaine et notre conversation en anglais avec Laurie Personnet, une coach en compétences intraculture. La leçon de cette semaine est de niveau B2+. Hi and welcome back to Your English Weekly. Today we have a new lesson. This week our lesson is presented by Laurie Personnet, a teacher who has devoted a large part of her career to teaching and is today a coach in intracultural skills. Thanks so much for coming. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Sinead. Hello to all of you in Radio Land. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you.
I'm honored to be here.
Laurie, before we start our lesson and we give our words to our listeners, can you tell us what the expression in a nutshell means?
It means to be said in a very short, brief manner. Mm-hmm. No big details. Just the essentials.
Well, we'll see at the end if you're right. Laurie, could you introduce yourself to our listeners?
My name is Laurie Personnet, and as Sinead said, I'm a teacher and a coach.
Fantastic. And I think you're Canadian too, aren't you, Laurie?
That's right, I am. I come from Saskatchewan.
Hoping to go there this summer, so I'll tell you more about that. So, Laurie, some of the words our listeners are going to hear today are beliefs. What does that mean, beliefs?
It's something that is important to you.
Mm-hmm. And what about aware?
It means that you're conscious of what's going on.
And mindfully?
Mindfully means that you do it with effort that you're aware of. So the two words go together.
Mindfully. Good work. Bridging the gaps?
That means to close the spaces between two different parts so that people understand better.
Exactly. Sifting. What is the verb to sift?
Well, if you go to a beach, you can sift sand and make sand castles. But sifting also means to sort out or to separate.
Good work. Concepts?
Concepts are ideas.
Relate?
Connected to something else.
Okay. A word we're going to see today is poke. What does poke mean?
Oh, if I took my finger and poked you in your shoulder, you would feel it. It means to kind of touch something or...
With a little bit of...
With a little bit of force.
Effort, yeah. Okay. Granted?
Granted means given.
Elements?
Elements are parts or pieces of something.
And the last word you're going to hear today that you may not know is boils down to.
Oh, that's an expression. It means it means that this is the essential thing.
Exactly, the essential. Okay, Laurie, can you tell us about your lesson today, please?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about some intercultural skills. Who are these for? Why do you need intercultural skills? What exactly are they? Does this help in any other ways? And where do I start? So I'll answer the first question right now. Who is this for? Well, I would say everyone. We all need intercultural skills, even for our own culture or cultures, if you have more than one, and you probably do, if we went into the details. For the second question, why do we need intercultural skills? I would say this. If you are interculturally aware of your own beliefs and values and traditions, customs and habits, just to name a few, then when it comes time to consider these points in other people, you will be able to understand better with the help of a few skills. You might even reduce conflict, come up with solutions to problems you may not have thought about before. You can do this both professionally and personally. The third question, what exactly are these skills? Well, there are 4 basic skills you need to develop. In a nutshell, those are, number 1, be aware and understand your own characteristic ways of behaving in familiar and unfamiliar situations. Number 2, become aware of others' characteristic ways of behaving in familiar and unfamiliar situations. Number 3, responding mindfully when you are disoriented or feeling challenged by something that's unfamiliar. And number 4, here we are, bridging the gaps or filling in the spaces, as we sometimes say, in situations by shifting your perspective, your emotions, and choosing a behavior that is effective and appropriate. Now that is a big order of the day. I know that. It doesn't happen overnight, but through learning the elements to get to these 4 basic skills, you can change how you and others relate culturally. That can also be useful in situations in your life when there are no cultural conflicts. There are skills that you can use everywhere. Concerning the 4th question, does this help in other ways? I would definitely say a big yes. If you look at the 4 basic skills, you can imagine how to apply them in situations that are not rooted in culture. And the last, or the 5th question is, where do I start? Well, there are 3 words to define the starting point. The first one is the word culture. The second definition you need is cultural competence, or some say intercultural skills. Number 3, intercultural learning. What exactly is that? How do you define it? Once you define and understand these key concepts, do a few exercises so you can move forward, then I would say you have begun. I would like to propose a little exercise to give you an idea. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a fishbowl with a little goldfish in it. Some sand at the bottom, a little plant, a little house that he can swim through, and water filled up to the top. Answer these questions. What do you see? Does the goldfish appear happy? Does it have everything it needs as far as you can see? How can you relate it culturally as you would personally define it? Now, keep your eyes closed and imagine a different picture. Imagine that same little fish on a sandy beach in the hot sun. What do you see? Does the goldfish appear happy? Does it have everything it needs as far as you can see? What has changed? How does the poor little fish feel? How can you relate that? When the fish is in water, it is in its cultural environment. It doesn't even know it's in water. It has a plant for oxygen, sand to poke around in, food from its owner, and all is well in its little fishy place. Then, when it's out of the water on the sand, all of a sudden its environment is different and even uncomfortable. All of the things it knows, like water, oxygen, sand, and food, are gone or changed. The water is gone now, so it understands the value of water. There is oxygen in the air, but it's not equipped to deal with that, and it can't poke around in the sand. If it can't swim, how is it going to fill in these gaps? How is it going to make the differences count? Does the first analogy give you the beginning of the definition of the word culture? Everyone's definition of culture will be different, and that's fine. Your definition will have elements that are important to you and part of the definition. Experts have described culture like this. Culture is a learned set of shared interpretive beliefs, values, norms, and cultural social practices which affect your behavior and the behavior of a large group of people. This may be a bit complicated. If you are new to intercultural skills, it boils down to this. Culture is a system for making meaning of things and situations. I'll say that again. Culture is a system for making meaning of things and situations. Ooh. You can ask yourself, what is my system for making meaning? If you'd like to know more, you can contact Sinead and she can contact me.
Oh, thank you, Laurie. Oh, wow. But if people do want to contact you to find out more, how can they do this?
They can write to me at my email address, and I can give that to you. Or they can go on the internet and look at my site called Frontier Coaching and contact me through there.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I just want to come back to the very first at the beginning when you said number 4, bridging the gaps in those situations. Was it by sifting or was it by shifting?
Shifting.
So the word
means... Yes, it means to change something.
Exactly. Okay. So it's not sifting, it's shifting, the word we wanted to use. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you caught that.
Oh, no, but sure, this is what it's all about, isn't it? Well, listeners, I hope now you have learned something about the intercultural skills. Now, coming back to our expression, in a nutshell, Laurie, how would you be able to, what you said earlier was exact, that it's to simply, briefly describe something, giving only the main points in a few words, summarizing like you did today.
Yes.
So, exactly. You put all the intracultural skills in a nutshell in less than 10 minutes. That's quite impressive, to be honest.
Thank you,
because
Sinead.
I know it's a huge amount of work. What is one of the pleasures you get with people working with them, Laurie, like this?
Mostly their enthusiasm for wanting to know more. Mm-hmm. It's very inspiring to work with people who want to make their relationships with other people better, especially going through different cultural aspects that are different from their own.
And when you coach people in companies, do you do many different exercises, like you showed us the exercise with the goldfish?
Yes, I like to use exercises and situations because it gets people active. It gets them practicing the skills that they're going to need when they encounter a cultural situation and different people.
And do you find that volunteering or doing volunteerism is an idea for some people to learn more about intercultural skills?
I think so. I think you can learn intercultural skills just about everywhere you go. We have different intercultural situations even within your own home, within your own city, within your own village.
So it's not necessarily...
Not even to talk about different countries.
Okay, so it's not necessarily... it's really the beliefs, as you said earlier.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily between one country and another. It can be in the same family.
It can. And all of a sudden the cultural aspect of it will come through and it's different. And that's where you want to bridge the gaps.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying all that for us. It was just fantastic. So here we are at the end of our Your English Weekly once again. Well, that's all from us today. But if you wish to listen to this podcast again, don't hesitate to find us on YouTube. You will also see our Facebook page with the expression of the week. And of course, I'll be back with a new guest next week. But stay tuned today because at 2:15, we have Joe with the Jeu de Mouvement. At 5 o'clock, we've got 1 hour, one community with La Motte Servalex. And at 6:15, you've got Jerome with On va tutti faire péter. So let's go nuts, as they'd say in English. Well, folks, that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on the air. And don't hesitate to come back to listen to us next week. And as I said earlier, we have a stage with the stage in April from the 11th to the 14th with the partners with the sailing club. So if you're interested in that for young collegians or young children, don't hesitate. See you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Radio Grand Lac.
Votre radio.